Do you have a bucket list? Have you actually done anything to try and do something on that bucket list? Because last year I made one and I haven't done diddly squat. However, I have decided that I am going to do the number one thing on my list, and that is to take a trip to Italy and to learn Italian before I get there. I've actually been studying Italian for a couple of years, but I think my Italian's worse now than it was even a year ago. Because, I mean, I meet with a guy every other week, and we almost never talk in Italian. And we do read from a book, like an easy reader, but so my reading is better, but well, anyway, if I want to learn Italian, I need to actually start taking it seriously. In fact, I've put it on my list of 45 minutes a day. I'm retired, so it's a lot easier for me to do things than for other people. But I'm going to do 45 minutes a day. I used to when I was doing Duolingo, but I learned nothing from that because I absolutely hated that app. But it did keep me focused on learning Italian. So I've decided I'm going to do 45 minutes a day. It won't kill me. But anyway, if I'm going to take this trip, because I want to take it in either 2027 or 2028, I need to make some big, big changes. I've got problems with my health. I've got problems with my money. I'm broke. I'm worse than broke, actually, because I'm in some serious credit card debt. And I still have tax debt. You know, I think the only people who ever have tax debt are the ones who had worked for themselves. Because if you work for somebody else, they generally take the taxes out for you. But I think I still owe 2016. I think I owe 2016, 2018, and that might be it. I think the rest of the stuff is caught up. But I know I owe at least 40 grand in tax debt. Ugh. And so I don't have any money. It's not like I can just dip into my savings and buy a ticket to Italy. So I have changes I have to make with that. Do I really have to get a part-time job? Ugh, I think I do. I think I do. I don't know. That's more daunting than taking this trip. You know, just trying to get out there and meet new people, and I'm just so afraid I'm going to make an ass out of myself. You know, I had a stroke last year. Well, you don't know because you don't know anything about me, but I had a moderate stroke last year. And so my left hand doesn't work great. My left leg isn't all that great. My walking is not, that's another thing I have to do. I've done no exercise in a year. None. I've been laying around watching Netflix. And I have to get out there, even if I'm only walking 15, 20 minutes a day, I have to get out there every day and start doing that. And I have no excuse because it's summertime, it's August, and it was a horrible June as far as the heat goes, but, you know, August has been pretty good. In fact, it's 78 right now where I'm sitting, so there's no flippin' excuse for not getting out and just taking a 15-minute walk. So, what else do I have to do? I'm 200 pounds. I have to do something about that. Actually, if I would lose some of that, I think it would make other things easier. I stopped drinking, and I don't know when you can switch from saying I stopped drinking to I quit drinking. I'm not sure if there's like is there a mark? You know, have you, like after you haven't drank for 3 months or 6 months or a year? If you know, leave a comment below. Because, anyway, I stopped drinking. And I'm not going to tell you for how long. It's only been a couple, but, you know, I certainly can't say I've quit drinking. Because I stopped drinking on Friday and it's the following Wednesday. And, that's not quitting. That's stopping. But I'm going to try. Because look, if I don't stop drinking, I can't do anything else. I went back to smoking. When I had the stroke, of course, I'm in the hospital for a month, and then I'm home for a month doing OT and PT, and my kids are here all the time, and I wasn't allowed to drive, so I couldn't get to cigarettes. But come November, when I was able to drive, that's one of the first things I did. Por supuesto, I drove my little hiney over to Wawa, and I'm just buying one pack. Just one pack. Well, now it's August, and I'm still smoking, so I got to work on that too. I mean, it's just this whole idea of taking this trip is so daunting, right? Does this sound familiar to you? Do you, please tell me you also have obstacles that are stopping you from doing your bucket list. You know, if you have something that you really really want to do or experience and you haven't done it, why haven't you done it? I was going to say leave a comment, but you don't have to because that's very personal. But think about it for yourself. You know, why haven't you done it? Well, I know why I haven't. I don't have the money. I'm not in any kind of a physical state to be able to be walking on cobblestones. I've basically let my Italian lapse. But maybe we can help each other. That's what I'm hoping for. I launched this channel back in September of 2024. It was my very first channel. And it was supposed to be for older people learning and doing new things. But that niche was way too big. You know, you could have a trout fisher who has retired to Florida and now he's doing deep sea fishing. You could have the older woman who's always wanted to learn how to quilt and now she's going to learn how to quilt, or the couple that they're all happy about their retirement. They buy an RV and they just go off to visit all the national parks. They're all people learning and doing new things, but I'm not seeing the common thread. I didn't know what the video should be about. I did a bunch of 30-day challenges, which are actually kind of interesting. I liked them. I'm going to go back through some of them and just pick one or two. So I did some 30-day challenges. I did one video about empty nesters, which actually did pretty well. But the whole time I was doing it, it's slow. By the time I stopped working on it in April of 25, I had 37 subscribers. So it's slow, but the whole time I was doing it, I kept thinking, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? You should be doing immigration. I was an immigration attorney for 40 years. I could talk about immigration in my sleep. That's what I should be doing. So I dropped this channel and I started a new one called Immigration and You, and it's all about immigration. And I'm not trying to get people to hire me because I've basically retired. Left hand doesn't work right, can't type. Some stroke fog once in a while, which I'm sure if you become a subscriber, you'll see that popping up in my videos where I'm trying to remember something and I can't for the life of me remember it. But, I just do a channel that talks about what's happening in immigration, of course, but also I try to explain to people terms of art that the attorneys, there's lots of immigration attorneys on YouTube, but they don't really explain. When they keep talking about the NTA, what's the NTA? You're going to get an NTA. They never explain what it is. Well, you should file a mandamus. They never explain what a mandamus is. What's the difference between a mandamus motion and a habeas corpus motion? So that's the type of stuff I do on that channel. So I was working on that. I continue to work on that. I've got like 155 subscribers on that. But that's another one that's slow. It's slow. So I decided I'm going to relaunch this one. I went back into analytics. I hadn't been there since April of 25 just to see where I'm at. Like I said, at the time when I stopped working on it, I had 37 subscribers. Well, I still have 36. So nobody left. But I posted a video yesterday, and this was a little disturbing. I went up because I have 4 different accounts. It's a long story, but I have 4 different accounts. So when I say I have 36 subscribers, at least 3 or 4 of them are me. At least 3 of them are me. I think 4. I'll have to double check it. But so anytime I do this with the Immigration and You channel, anytime I post a video, later that day I'll go into my room and I'll watch it on the TV. I'll watch that new video and I'll watch it all the way through and I'll click like on it. It's just to let the algorithm know that somebody's interested in it. So that's what I did last night. You know, I had posted this like around 8:30 last night. That first video on this relaunch, and I went up on the first channel that comes up, and I didn't say it. I mean, because with the Immigration and You one, I can go up on the Board to Restored, and the new Immigration and You video will be up. That's the first thing I say. Not this time. On any of the channels, they weren't, and I'm like, wait a minute, I checked that little box that says send it to my subscribers. Well, they did not. So, I mean, I went in, like, let's say I was on Immigration and You looking for the Board to Restored video. I went in to the Board to Restored channel and I found it, because it's right there. I found it and I watched it, and I did that, you know, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. But it really kind of disturbed me that it didn't just pop right up. And it's like, well, that's because the algorithm is like, where the hell you been since April of 25? So I have a funny feeling it's going to be slow going to get this channel back up, to let the algorithm know that I'm back and that I am going to be posting, you know, at least once a week, probably 2 or 3 times a week. That's what I do with Immigration and You. I post 2 or 3 times a week. It might be a minute before YouTube figures out that this is what I'm doing. But the whole point of that long-winded section was that I decided to relaunch the channel focusing exactly on what the title says, Board to Restored. Because trust me, I am bored. I am bored. I needed to do something to get out of this rut that I'm in. You know, this no exercise, this eating too much, this sitting here smoking like I don't know that another stroke is coming down the pike if I don't quit these frickin' things. And I thought, you know what? Let's go back to basics. Let's try to restore your life. So there you go. You know, I decided that I wanted to try and restore my life, restore my natural optimism, because I really am a pretty optimistic person. Give myself something to look forward to. Try to make a community of others who are also trying to improve themselves, to get back on track, to do at least one thing that's on your bucket list. So I do have plans for another video. That's going to be the next video. What's it called? How to turn your bucket list into reality. You know, how to set up a bucket list, how to keep it fresh, keep it changing, what to do if your plans don't go perfectly. You know, you've been struggling to do XYZ and you get sick, or somebody that you care for gets sick. Basically, how to take those first steps so that you don't feel overwhelmed. You know, little baby steps. So that's coming up. And there's going to be a lot of different videos about being positive. It's not all going to be about me. In fact, I'd love it to be more about you, more than me. If there's something you'd like me to talk about, something maybe is a particular issue for you or someone you know, But I am going to try and keep this optimistic, and it's not going to be just a you could do it, you could do it, you could do it channel, but how to improve your lifestyle. For the time being, we'll see how it goes, because it's probably going to take a while to get some subscribers. Like I said, I have 36, but I've had them for the last 2 years, and they don't even know that I exist, because, like I said, when that video came up, I posted it, and the 4 channels that I have, it didn't show up on any of them. I had to go looking for it. So for the time being, I'm going to send these videos out, and I'm hoping that I'm going to connect with some folks, people who, like me, want to make some changes in their lives. We can help each other, don't you think? I don't know. It can't hurt. It can't hurt, right? To know that somebody else is struggling, that they feel like they have obstacles in their way, but they're still pushing through. I know it would help me if there were other people who were going through the same thing as me. And I am sure there's a lot of people out there who have retired. You know what? You don't even have to be retired. I was going to say it's for older people. It's not. Because there's a lot of people they've gotten out of college and they can't find a job. They're applying, and they can't find a job. Or, somebody is going through a divorce and they just can't, or they know that they should try to get out there. They've been, living on their own for months and months, maybe years and years, and they're afraid to try and date somebody. Somebody else is going through the same thing as me, and maybe together we can help each other. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.